Welcome to Papé Machinery Toolkit. I'm Jason, and we're going to talk about a few of the reasons why we might jump from a Z3 zero-turn mower up to a Z5 zero-turn mower. Let's get going. So what you see before you here is two 2023 model year Z3s and Z5 zero-turn mowers. So I've just got an example of a Z330M right here, but we're going to talk about kind of a whole product overview of the whole Z3 lineup in comparison to this Z545R, which is kind of the top of the heap for the Z5s, but we're again going to talk in generalities of the whole Z5 lineup to compare the two. So let's talk about first, hand controls. This is a big update for the Z3 this year. We have an integrated park brake into this Z3, which is really nice. What I mean by that is that once I have my levers out, that actually engages the park brake. On the Z5 hand controls, this doesn't have that park brake integration like we see on the Z3. I still have an actual deliberate handle right here for my park brake. I'm not going to say one way is better than the other. I tend to kind of lean towards the Z3 with that new park brake engagement, but this isn't a bad system at all, and this has kind of been the tried and true for John Deere in years past. So that's kind of an overview of hand controls. Let's talk about the seats. This is kind of where the Z5 is going to shine a bit. I have an 18-inch or an optional 20-inch high back seat on these. Again, new for this year. These seats are really comfortable. They've got quite a bit of suspension spring underneath them. But if you can see, I jump up into this Z5. The seat back on this one is 22.5 inches. It's going to have a comfort glide option, which you're not going to get on the Z3. So that means that this seat can go back and forth. I'll jump up here and show you that. So it isolates me from the ground both forward and aft, and then up and down on those springs. So I'm going to say that that's definitely going to go to the Z5. If you're looking for the best and most comfortable seat between the two, Z5 is going to win out. Let's talk about engine options with the two machines. So on the Z3s, they've introduced, it used to come standard with a Briggs & Stratton just only option. This year, they've introduced a few Kawasaki's into the lineup. So you're going to see the 21.5 horsepower Kawasaki and the 23 horsepower Kawasaki engines offered in the Z3s. Really, really nice additions to the lineup. So Kawasaki isn't going to be a discriminator in between the two anymore. With the Z5s, you're going to get bigger engines options. Additionally, you're going to have an electronic fuel engagement option on the Z5s. So that's what this one is. This Z545R has the fuel-injected engine in it. It's a Briggs & Stratton fuel-injected engine, but if you're looking for maximum power, maximum efficiency, that fuel injection engine is going to be kind of the top of the line in the actual engines on these Z5s. Additionally, what you're going to get is you're going to get some electronic controls to control your fuel and throttle. So that's really nice. It's all push button on this style. And then on the Z3s, we have the more conventional kind of lever action. So I've got the choke and the throttle kind of divorced on this particular one, but they do have an option on the Briggs & Stratton where all that is in the same lever. So again, a little bit more advanced on the Z5. Let's talk about transmissions and speed. So when I'm thinking, making the decision whether or not I want to go with a Z3 or Z5, or I'm trying to lead a customer into that decision, some of the questions I'm going to ask, or what size of property are you mowing? What hills, do you have hills on your property? Do you have, trees that you're trying to get around? What are the kind of, the smallest space you need to get in between? So that's going to be some good differentiators between the two. I would say that if you had, up to about 4 acres is kind of where this really, really makes its money. You're going to be able to travel at about 7 miles an hour in the Z3. up to 7 miles an hour in the Z3. And I have a couple of different deck options that will allow me to get into, closer spaces. So this is a Z3 with a 54-inch deck on it. They make it obviously with a 48-inch deck and a 42-inch deck. You cannot option a Z5 with a 42-inch deck. So if you have to get into some really tight spaces, Z3 is probably the one I would kind of push you towards. Moving back over to the Z5, I can go up to 9 miles an hour in this. And so property owners, with, 4 to 6 acres is kind of where I'm probably orienting this customer. This is going to have 48, 54 inch options, all the way up to a 60-inch option on the deck. Additionally, if I'm looking at kind of what kind of property or what terrain I'm looking at on my property, you're going to notice that this has a rollover protection system. So this lends itself to a customer that has property that's maybe a little bit more hilly, that has a little bit more safety in mind. I have a nice ROP system, so rollover protection system, integrated into the frame of this machine that will keep me safe and sound. Let's dig a little deeper into these decks. So this is an Excel Deep deck on our Z3 models. If you jump up into the Z5s, you're going to have the high capacity lineup of decks. What does that mean? So with the Excel Deep decks, if I'm going to go with a 42-inch deck, I'm going to have a 12-gauge steel deck. If I jump up into the 48 or 54 decks, I'm going to have a 10-gauge steel deck on those particular options. Again, when we're stepping up a bit, we look at the high capacity decks, 48s, 54s, and 60s, all three of which have a 9-gauge steel deck. 9-gauge steel, thicker decks, a little bit more longevity, a little bit more robust build quality on them. You're gonna see this integrated guard welded onto the front of the deck. So that's a really nice thing to think about when I'm actually looking at the two different pieces. If I've got a lot of sticks on my property, or I'm gonna, I'm not very careful with my mower and I hit things often, maybe we go with the upgraded deck, so we're gonna have a little bit more longevity out of it. All right, so let's talk a couple more differences. You can physically see the difference in caster wheel size. So you're gonna see the front caster wheels are a little bit bigger on the Z5s. So gonna probably lend itself to a little bit more comfortable ride. I've got bigger tire and wheel options available on the Z5s. There's great tire and wheel options available on the Z3s. So that's not a huge discriminator against the Z3, but at the end of the day, you do have some bigger wheels and tires over here, which leads to a more comfortable ride. Let's talk about some things that are the same. And so it's kind of hard to see in this particular video because I'm comparing an M model to an R model. Granted, there is an R model in the Z3s available out there. I just haven't had my hands on one quite yet. I can get LED lighting packages on both of these machines. And so you're gonna see the integration of LED lights right here on the front of the frame on this particular model. Additionally, I have some up here on the rollover protection system. On the Z3s, the lights are actually integrated into the front up here, into the front rubber isolators. So you're gonna see forward-facing lights and lights that obviously they kind of, they're puddle lights that go right in front of the deck so I can see exactly what I'm right before I'm mowing it, which is really kind of cool. So that's something that's more of the same. They both, new for this year for the Z3s, have these lift-up style foot compartments, and so I can get underneath and into my deck a lot easier. Again, with the Z3s, you can have that foot compartment with rubber isolator pads and rubber floor mats, just like on the Z5. So again, more of the same kind of options on both of these machines. What you're going to start to see again in a little bit of a difference is I've got a nice control panel that's got full telemetry on it. So I've got my hour meter, my fuel gauge, all of those things built into a really nice display unit that's right on the side there. On the Z3s, I have an hour meter on here, which is really good to give me that good information about, when I should take care of my machine and all that kind of stuff. I can pay attention to the hours. But again, the Z5 is going to be a step up in that direction, in that kind of area. Let's talk about deck height selection. So deck height selection on the Z3s, new for this year, is going to be this rotary dial. So I'm going to be able to dial in the deck height with this rotary dial, which is kind of it's a really nice feature. On the Z5s, again, since this was a remodel last year, I've got deck height selection using the pin system. Again, positive pin, easy to see. I'm not sure one is necessarily better than the other, but you know, it's again a preference thing. Both of these zero-turn mowers are going to be really easy to maintain. That's one of the nice features of a zero-turn mower, is that I have the ability to access the engine compartments very easily. They're all open, exposed, so I can check fluids, I can replace filters, all of those things that I need to do to maintain my piece of equipment are kind of the same on both of these with all that exposed engine. Additionally, the decks are super easy to service on these. They all have greasable spindles, so you're going to get that on the Z3s and the Z5s. Let's talk about another similar feature on the back of these machines, and that's hitches. So on the M's models and above, you're going to have those hitches straight from the factory. For the E model, that would have to be an add-on for either one of these, and you can visit our parts department and they would be able to help you out. Let's talk about accessories. There is a ton of accessories available for both of these machines. Again, if for example, I bought this particular machine right here, if I wanted to add those LED lights after the fact, I can totally do that. If I wanted to add mulch kits, we have mulch kits available for both the Z3s and the Z5s. We have bagging systems available for these particular machines. I've got integrated tool carriers that if I needed to carry my landscaping tools with me, they've got options for those as well. So again, more of the same on both kind of platforms is the accessories and attachments to kind of make them your own. You can do that with both of them. Thanks for joining me with this step-up video from the Z3s to the Z5 zero-turn mowers. I don't think there's really a bad decision between the both of these particular machines. And I actually blame John Deere for that. John Deere has made these two machines closer than ever. That Z3 has really kind of stepped up its game for 2023. The Z5 kind of continues to be that steadfast, strong, solid performer. Again, cost is probably going to be a little less on the Z3 than the Z5, but at the end of the day, I think you can see the value in stepping up to a Z5 as well. So, no bad decisions. If you've got any comments on that, or comments about these machines, or questions about these machines, please comment below. We'd love to hear your feedback. Additionally, please like and subscribe to our channel. We always enjoy having more members to our Papé Toolkit family. We'll check you out next time with the next Papé Toolkit video. Hi, my name is Jason Hughes. I'm a territory manager out of Eugene, Oregon. I'm also a large property owner and own a lot of the equipment that you see featured in these videos. I hope you find this content helpful. If you have any questions, please comment below.